Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to properly align your dial ring on in this case, it's S&G 6730. This here is technically a 6730 with a mix of a 6770. I might be wrong on that. Any OG safe techs out there, locksmiths, whatever, please correct me on that. But yeah, this is an older 6700 or vintage 6700 series. Anyways, I'm going to show you how to properly align this dial ring. This part is actually crucial in regards of a dial not binding as you're turning it and making sure that the drive cam on the inside is not being scored on the inside right here or messing something up inside the lock. And the reason, again, someone else can correct me on this, and the reason you want to align your dial ring to your lock is because on some safes, it's kind of rare, but some safes, the mounting surface for the lock here or on the inside is not always perfectly aligned to the mounting surface of the dial ring on the outside, which is why you have some adjustment here in this case. You will see this on S&Gs like this one, Lagards, I believe some Moslers, some old Moser 302s and stuff like that have the same adjustment. So this is why they have that. Typically, what I use is this dial ring alignment tool to line up the dial ring to the lock. Now, I know people are not going to have this tool readily available, and plus this tool is about more or less $100, and it's a very specific purpose. So no one's going to spend $100 for this one thing. However, if you wanted to, you can actually line up your dial ring using just the dial and the drive cam itself. That's it. This method only applies to modern S&G dials and Lagard dials that have the hole made for the day lock and key cylinder. So I'll show you how to do it with this technique. What you will need is obviously your dial with the escutcheon off, or at the very least have the hole free from the cylinder, because we will need it to help align this dial. All you're going to do is you're going to take your dial, mount it onto your lock, and make sure that your dial ring is loose before you do this, please. Go to the lock itself, and we'll ignore the fact that this dial is cut short for right now. And we will screw that in. Okay. Alrighty. Again, ignoring the fact that I accidentally cut this spindle too short, but this wasn't for this specific mount anyways. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to slightly loosen that up just a little bit. If you see here, I have some movement in the dial ring with the dial on. What you want to check here is how even the dial is, how even the surface is of the dial in relation to the dial ring. For example, I don't know if you can see this on camera that well. Let's see. You can see that this surface here of the dial is a little low compared to the surface on the opposite side of the dial, which is a little bit high above the dial ring. If I push it this way, you see the opposite of that. It's higher here now than it is lower here. what we're going to do is we're going to make sure both sides are about even of each other. So whatever height it is above right here, we want the same or neither same on this side here. Hopefully that makes some sense to y'all. So you can really do this by feel, not a big deal. So we're going to say about right there. I don't know if you can see that at all. And then from there, once you figure this is about even and lined up, we are going to carefully, without knocking this out of alignment, we're going to take our screwdriver down that keyhole, or cylinder hole rather, and tighten up this bottom screw. About right there. And in the case of this dial, or sorry, this lock mount, I'm not going to do it super tight, but just snug enough to where the dial ring will not move. The reason for this is because this is made of PLA, so I don't want to damage it too much by over tightening it. All right, there. So as you see there, using that open hole, I can now line up my dial ring and then tighten down the screws. Now, as you're lining up your dial ring, what you also want to keep in mind of is keeping your index, or your opening index, at 12 o'clock as best as possible as you're doing this, because it will move this way as well. So from there, we can now check to see that dial ring is on tight. Unscrew this if you needed to, and then go about mounting or finishing up mounting your lock. And that's really it. So you don't necessarily need a dial ring alignment tool like this, but at the very least, you do need a dial and a drive cam, and make sure that the dial has a hole here that's pre-made for this day locking cylinder. Take that cylinder out, make sure the hole is easily accessible, so you can put a screwdriver through, pop it in here, line up your dial ring, tighten down the screws, and then you're in business. And that's it.